As an editor, you have more power than you think. A power to make your audience feel something. In this video, I'll show you a common editing framework that consists of story, emotion, and a rhythm, which if you understand, your growth as a video editor will be exponential. It's essential you watch until the end because those tips are closely tied together and will not work without each other. Storytelling. Forget retention for a while. What you've been told is the key for editing is just doing crazy animations and you'll get the viewer engaged. And that is possibly the worst advice you could have ever received as a video editor. Of course, it's important to be capable within the software, but you need to be selective with the animations and the B-roll. Let me ask you one question. Would you rather distract the audience until the end, and by that having high watch time, but leaving your viewers empty, or would you rather choose the more ethical and more powerful way to make your viewers grasp your every single word? For me, I want my viewers to like me and remember me, even at the cost of a high watch time. Let's get more practical and let's navigate your next cuts. How to actually tell a good stories. Well, every story has a 3-act structure: beginning, middle, and end. Now with this information, you're going to watch your raw footage that you just received and you're going to look for the story where it begins and possibly where it ends. Always prioritize story. There's an unspoken rule you should never cross. If you have a perfect scene or perfect shot that you really like, but it doesn't move the story forward, unfortunately, you have to give it up. But by stories, I don't mean the stories we usually tell, like there was a couple sitting by a campfire and there was a weird guy playing a guitar, whatever. Not this kind of story. In educational videos, you start with a problem and you guide the viewer to the solution. In vlog industry, you have a goal for the day, you have some other experiences that you've experienced, and then you reflect on that day. Maybe forget the word story and replace it with transformation. The viewer should feel transformed after the video. Of course, storytelling isn't this easy. It's a deep concept, so I suggest you watch many videos on YouTube on this topic. But to recap, in story, structure is everything: beginning, middle, and end. Edit for transformation. Cut anything that doesn't add up to the story. Now that you understand how to build a compelling story, let's talk about the secret ingredient that makes story unforgettable: emotion. You might have the perfect story settled up, but if you don't know how to bring up the right emotions, it's still going to feel empty. Walter March, one of the most influential editors ever, in his Rule of 6 even gives the biggest importance to emotion. You should always prioritize emotion, even if it means sacrificing story or rhythm or technical aspects. In other words, if you have a chance to build an emotional moment, it is recommended to include that even if it doesn't serve the story as much. We as human beings are driven by emotion, and we remember how we felt during that video, during that film. The key in editing is to make the viewer feel something, because ultimately that's what he's going to remember. For example, if I watch a video of Hayden Hillier-Smith and he gives me a life-changing insight to my editing, I'm going to feel transformed because of the aha moment. I'm going to remember the moment where I felt transformed, because it made me feel something. That's exactly what I'm going to remember from that video. Now that we've covered why emotion is essential for every single video, here's how you can actually convey the emotion in your edits. It really comes down to 3 ways of conveying the right emotion: through shots, through music, and through rhythm. We'll quickly go over the first 2 to give you a solid foundation, and then dive deeper into rhythm, since it's the third and the final pillar that we are going to explore today. Let's first dive into the shots. How can we convey emotion through different types of shots? Well, different kind of shots can navigate emotion in a different way, and those are the only ones you'll need as a creator to convey emotion. Medium shot is what you typically use, the most default position of the camera. You just basically put a camera at a medium distance and call it a day. As a supporting B-roll to hold the audience's attention, you're going to use the side angle. And close up, is when you want the viewer to pay attention. By having a close-up, you're mimicking the distance between the viewer and you, and the closer you are, the more intimate the moment. So for you as a creator, you're going to use close-ups to emphasize a really important point. And you will finally make the videos you're making more emotional without having to do flashy effects and animations. So in that way, you're going to connect with the viewer directly. Now, conveying emotion through music. It can be as easy as, what do you want the scene to feel like? Is it meant to be sad? Is it meant to be motivational? Or mysterious? What is it supposed to feel like? After watching the whole footage, what emotions are you feeling without even putting a music under it? Many creators see no deep meaning in music selection. They will just place a random track that they like under the video and call it a day. There's just so much wasted potential. Remember, emotion is the most crucial part of editing. You cannot waste the potential so much. You need to be careful with those decisions, because it's the difference between if the viewer watches or if he clicks away. So next time you're going to pick a music track, ask yourself, what do I want my viewer to feel like? For example, the way that I pick music is that I go to Envato elements, and if the scene feels, for example, mysterious to me, I'm going to use filters. Slow BPM because we need the tension to build up. We're going to pick genre and type in mysterious. It can be as easy as that. And after that, it's just a matter of your gut feeling, whether the song really fits within the narrative. To recap, the emotion is the most important aspect of editing. What can amplify emotion is the choice of the shots and the choice of the music track. And we also understood the most important concepts in editing, which is story and emotion. And the last pillar on our list is rhythm. Rhythm in editing might sound a little complicated, but it's actually really easy. It's all about pacing. You can go fast or slow, and the rhythm is the variety between those two extremes. Rhythm is the variation in tempo. Sometimes you go fast and sometimes you slow down. A viewer usually establishes a pattern in the length of the shots. For example, if it's 4 to 6 seconds, they're gonna notice. But by interrupting their pattern, by making faster cuts or longer cuts, they suddenly pay attention. In other words, rhythm is the intentional change between slow and fast, and it plays a crucial role on how the viewer connects with us emotionally. Let's say you have average cut duration of 4 to 6 seconds. The moment when you hold the cut a little longer, for example 9 to 12 seconds compared to 4 to 6, they're suddenly going to pay attention. But if in the opposite scenario we start to experience fast cuts of 1 to 2 seconds on average, we're going to feel stressed, anxious, and in a rush, which we can perfectly notice in horror movies. If you master this balance between cuts, suddenly your editing will feel addictive. To recap, rhythm can be understood as variety. Fast cuts build tension, and slow cuts releases the tension. Now, if there's one thing that I would love you to remember from this video, it would be this. Great editing isn't about flashy effects, not even animations themselves. Story, emotion, and rhythm are the real secrets that hold attention and make us enjoy a video. By mastering these three, you're going to feel closer to Hollywood level editors. Hit the subscribe to never miss the next video.